Okay, request is number 12. And as we talk about number 12, it's state the intervals on which the function is increasing and or decreasing. So that means every part of your graph needs to be accounted for. Now, when we do increasing and decreasing intervals, what values do we use? X or Y?
Y.
Let me re-ask my question, because I just realized that question can go either way. What values, do we use X or Y values to give our answer, our interval? We're going to use the X's to give the interval, but the Y's help us determine whether it is increasing or decreasing. Does that make sense? So, okay, so I have this graph that you just gave us a little sketch up here on the BenQ to kind of, refer to. Let's start with the obvious. As we start at the left, what is my graph doing? As we move from left to right, my graph is increasing. Yes? Right? It is increasing. I'm going to go ahead and write a little bit out over here. And it's increasing because, as I start at the left, and ignore the arrow I drew on the original graph. That's just saying the graph extends down that way, right? But as I start on the left, I'm going to start low, and I'm going to be moving up. And if you take trace, in other words, hit trace on your calculator, right? If you take trace on your calculator and you go to the bottom left of the screen, and you start moving up, notice my Y values are increasing, yes? And so we are starting to increase. Now, when do we start increasing? What X value is the farthest left on the screen? Negative infinity, yes? And this is, here, let me give a basic this is not exact, but just so we have a basic set of X, Y axes here to talk about. And okay, so meaning here that as we go left, the X value we're talking about is negative infinity, right? Now, increasing, where do we increase to? Does this whole thing increase? And here's the deal. If the whole thing increases, as you trace, your Y values will only ever go up. Is that true? No. We hit a point where it goes up and it goes briefly down. So how do I find where our increasing stops and it turns to decreasing? What are we looking for here?
Max.
A max, yes? To be official, and you can kind of eyeball it, and you might be able to figure it out just by tracing your calculator. But what you need to figure out here is any maxes and mins, right? So what is that max? How do I find that max to double check?
The
Trace.
second
Second, trace button, which is the calc menu, right?
max.
And you go to max or min. So if I go to max, I should probably be showing this. Are we okay with our max min skills?
Well, I just had a question because, and I know this won't work for all of them, but since it does line up like perfectly, or what I'm assuming is perfectly, on the x-axis when our x is 0, or just by pressing the trace button, it gives us our y value. Is that like
So what you're indicating is you feel like the max is exactly on the y-axis.
Yes.
And that is a possibility. Because if you move either way from that y-axis, it appears to go, y value is down either way. There's just no guarantee because our cursor moves in increments.
Okay.
And so that's why I'm double checking myself.
All right.
Okay, now, I fully get it, Carter. I agree. I think it looks like the max is at 0, 1 as well. However, I don't want to put you guys in a position where you just automatically assume, oh, yep, that's what it looks like. You see, I'm just trying to do the right thing as a teacher.
Gotcha.
So, okay. So I'm going to hit my left bound, which is going to be over here left somewhere. I'm going to hit my right bound. Don't go too far for your right bound, and then I guess and enter. My max says negative 2.069 e negative 6, comma 1. So what is that max? That is a 0, yes? Yours may actually say 0. Yours may have some other random scientific number, right? But that is essentially 0. Okay, so if that is my max, that is my highest y value. So when am I increasing? I'm increasing from negative infinity to where? To what x value? The x value of 1. Do we use parentheses or brackets there?
Brackets because it includes the 1 is the highest value.
Usually, yeah. Usually we say bracket because 1 is, oh my gosh.
I was about to say, you didn't have 1 on here.
Your teacher's having a moment. Don't mind me.
It would be the 0.
Okay. Now, the max is 0, comma 1. I had that correct, yes? Left to right, 0, up 1. Now, so officially, I kind of drew it off center just to say that, okay, we don't really know. But officially, yes. The max is on the axis there. When our y value is 1, what is our x value? 0. So what should our increasing interval be? Negative infinity to 0. 0 with a bracket because 0 is an include point on the graph.
I was wrong.
Don't let me make those mistakes. Oh my goodness.
No, it was my mistake.
I only caught it because I happened to glance at the answer key for something else. I was like, wait, what? Don't ask. I'm allowed to make mistakes too, right?
It's only a Wednesday. It's okay.
That's scary.
It's only Wednesday? I thought it was Thursday.
It is only Wednesday.
I wish it was Thursday.
If it was Thursday, you might or might not be back for your field trip yet.
Oh, yeah.
See? You've been here all morning. You didn't go on field trip. It's definitely only Wednesday. Okay. What happens after I hit that max?
Go down.
This is where it's look closely. You are going down. So we have a decreasing section. When do we start decreasing? At what x value? When did we stop increasing? We stopped increasing at 0, 1, which the x value is 0. So we stopped increasing there, which means that's also where we start decreasing. 0 with a bracket. When do I stop decreasing? At what type of point here? What is this? We need to know what this min is. Now, this is not one that I would just, earlier Carter's like, can I just assume that max is 0, 1? Yeah, I saw that. I get it. This one, I don't feel like you can just assume anything. So I'm going to do second calc. I'm going to do a minimum. Left bound, right bound. If you're struggling with that left-right stuff still, let me know, right? Let me help you. My minimum, 0. Yeah, I think it is. Mine's 0.66666516, but.
Oh. Okay.
And then 0.851851, something like that. When do I stop decreasing? When do I stop decreasing? Yeah. I wrote 0.667. Did I use 0.67 on the answer key?
Yeah.
I used 0.67 on the answer key. Bracket or parenthesis? Bracket, because it's an included point. after we stop decreasing, what do? We increase. So, at what point do we start increasing again? 0.67. When did you stop decreasing? So that is 0.67, which again is a bracket, right? And that 0.67 is the x value here. When do we stop increasing? Never. So positive infinity. What did I say down here? Oh my gosh. Okay. Did I say what I put besides 0.67? Okay. I wrote a parenthesis. I don't know if anyone saw that because I was standing right in front of it, so I don't know if you guys necessarily caught it yet, but hopefully you would have caught it if I let it go too long. Okay, so 0.67 to infinity is when it is increasing. I feel like I made a mess of that one. Did I help, though, along while making a mess of it?
So we can use mins and maxes to find when it's increasing.
To find the specific values, yes. Yes, I would. And as I said, I agree with Carter. 0, 1, we could have figured that out, just it seemed right. Would you have come up with specifically 0.67 as that min by tracing? My guess is probably not. Yeah, I wouldn't have got it off of my calculator. Questions related to this? A question on this one, Carter?
Kind of. Yes. So, say we were graphing something, and we press zoom. Can we zoom to a point where it shows us like half, like not just 1, 2, 3? Do you know what I mean? Like 0.5, 1.5, 2. Or maybe.
Where there's more labeled than just the
Yes.
whole numbers. In order to change what is labeled, if you go into your window settings, where it says X scale, it says 1. That means my X's are counting by ones. My Y scale is 1. That means my Y's are counting by ones. So even as you zoom in, it's still going to count by ones unless you ask it to count differently.
Well, that's cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now there's a bunch of little ones.
So you got a lot more lines if you want a lot more lines there.
Okay.
And a Zoom 6 standard screen would reset that again, I think.
Okay.
Because the standard Zoom settings would take you back.
Alright.
Okay, Maddie.
They're in two separate areas.
Is that parametric? Nope.
Either or, neither. That's okay.
So we haven't talked about 19 in this class yet then. Okay, because I did talk about my other class. Yes.
I marked
Really
them.
quickly, like on 16 or something, where so the minimum is 8 for repeating, but on my calculator it said like 8.323 and then 4.1.
It's like that same one, just
Okay.
assume it's repeating. Yeah. And regardless, even if you just round it to 2 decimal places, 0.8, we're going to match on the 0.83. So,
Real quick too, I just want to make sure I'm reading why I think this is right. Cell number 14 is bounded because it doesn't go below the x-axis.
It doesn't.
no. We need to talk about that.
Okay.
Maddie and I had this discussion the other day,
Yeah,
and I tried to clear it up this morning. Let's talk about bounded.
Okay.
Okay? Like, that's a good discussion to have. Okay, going out of order for a moment. So 19, 20, and bounded are all issues to talk about, yes? I would like to talk about 20 first. And this has to do with what I'm going to record and not record. Okay? So, 20. Find the asymptotes of the given function, both horizontal and vertical. You need to know these rules, yes? That's what I forgot to do in this class today. Let you guys see your quizzes. I stink at passing back papers right now. Okay.
We forget.
Okay. Vertical, horizontal asymptote rules. Work with me here. You want to talk vertical or horizontal first? Vertical. What is the reason you're probably asking this one. What are our vertical asymptote rules? set the denominator equal to 0, yes? So in order to find vertical, we're going to set the denominator equal to 0. So what's my denominator? X squared plus 4 equal to 0. Okay, so let's solve this. Subtract 4, correct? X squared equals negative 4. Take the square root. Square root of x squared is x. Square root of negative 4. Okay. We could say plus or minus 2i. However, are we talking about imaginary asymptotes? No. So, what's happening here is, okay, go back and think about the logic. Pick any number you want for x. What happens when you square any type of number? It becomes positive. What happens to a positive number when you add 4 to it? It becomes a bigger positive. So even if x is 0, you still get a positive in that denominator. Can my denominator ever equal 0? No. So for that reason, there are no vertical asymptotes. That was kind of the weird exception there. Yes?
What I did was I factored out an x and set x equal to 0 and x plus 4 equal to 0.
There's no x to factor out. It's x squared plus 4, not x squared plus 4x.
I don't know. Like, I realize that now.
Okay. If there was an x squared plus 4x, so with you, yes, factor out an x.
I just had to.
Okay. While we're here, remind me, what's the horizontal asymptote rule? The bigger power's on bottom, it is y equals 0. Yes? If the bigger power's on top, what's the rule? None. If the power's biggest power on top and biggest power on bottom match, it's, what do we use? Coefficients? Okay. Yeah, if the powers match, you use whatever numbers are in front of those variables. Okay? Know those rules. Got it?
We can also use a graph.
Yeah, you can to an extent.
What we do need to show, algebra.
Yeah, I mean, you still need to understand the y's and everything, and the calculator does not always make it easy to figure out. So, okay, does that help with 20? Yes.
That bigger, that's just like you can't, that's just telling us that you can't get square root of a negative number, right?
You want x equals x. X equals big X.
Are you talking about right here?
Yes.
This was just me saying, yeah, no, we can't do it.
Okay, yeah, I was making sure, because I was like, X.
No, that's just me saying
Yeah,
that square root of a negative number is a no-go.
right. Okay.
That's what I was saying on that one. Sorry, if I wrote it down, you looked away and you look back, it says x equals x. Probably not the best part for me to take. So put there. Okay, are we good there? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording because these other two that you guys want to talk about are already on recording.